Hey guys, what's going on? This is Roth. I am here with Dave Faustino and Janet Varney of Korra. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm excited to talk to you.
We're going to say everything in unison.
Yeah,
today.
you are?
We are really very carefully planned.
Pineapple.
Well, we lost it on the pineapple, but it was a good run for a second.
I stopped it because I figured you wanted to get to the interview. You could have ran with it.
He's the professional here, not me.
I do want to dig in because we've seen the finale and it was a big finale.
How are you doing?
If we were to take the emotional temperature in the room, sad, near devastated. I mean, that was a really big, dark, upsetting finale. Talk about where Korra's head is at. Is Mako worried that he's lost the Avatar? Talk about where your heads are at as your characters.
You start.
In character.
Well, I continue my trend of finding an opportunity to cry in every episode as a viewer, I mean. This was no exception. If anything, I cried more than usual.
Which is tremendous.
Which is saying a lot. In fact, if there's some way you could bottle my tears, we could really solve this California drought thing. Okay, but I really, it's tough. There's obviously some great uplifting things that happen. Korra being reunited with her dad, that's amazing. But how tough to just be out of commission for her. When someone, unlike Aang, who is such a reluctant Avatar, she feels like that's her identity, and so to not have that right now has got to just be so frustrating.
And that's been our journey, though, right? Here's the interesting, and tell me what you guys think of this. I think the interesting thing to me, one of the interesting things about Korra is that when you're a teenager, mine's going crazy too.
Great.
When anybody is a teenager, yours is not.
Mine's fine.
You have a piece of pizza. Right?
Anyway, yeah, I did.
Stomachs are in order. I think when anybody's a teenager, they are going through that period of like finding their identity and feeling that pieces of it are stripped away, and then they try something else on. But Korra's doing the exact same thing, except with the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what being the Avatar is to her, and at this point, does she even feel like she knows what that is?
I mean, that's a really great way of putting it. I think that was something that really struck me in book 3 is, when you go back to season 1, you think about how headstrong she was and how sort of sure she was that she had it together, and then everything that she went through in book 2. I feel that just that lack of confidence in book 3 and feeling this sense of, am I going to be able to do this? And of course, having that connection lost with previous avatars, there is this real kind of sense of drifting, and what's great about that is that we get to see how much she relies on this amazing team of friends and family that she has behind her, and so that's like an extraordinarily lovely part of it. But I think there's just a lot of, I think, her feeling really alone, and I think we all have moments like that, and now imagine that you have those moments, and then also that kind of responsibility. When you're talking about being a teenager, I think the maturity that you see in Mako and Korra being able to love each other as friends, whether or not it's a relationship, is not necessarily something that a lot of teenagers get to at that young of an age. And so I do think that's a great example of their maturity.
I just loved in episode, the same episode we were just talking about, 10, when we're looking for you and we can't find you, and we have the airship, and we finally come and we reunite in that moment where we're hugging, and you can tell how much he loves you when he holds you, and then he has that awkward moment, and he continues to just look at you. It's a great moment. You can see his love for her.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because we have some fans asking, one of the fun things this season has been to watch Mako awkwardly interact with Asami and Korra.
It's hilarious.
Do you think that the foundation is strictly friendship at this point, or is there some more tension there? Is there some more romantic feelings?
I mean, I think his love for, in my opinion, I think from what I know, I think his love for Asami is very different for his love for Korra. I think it's a deeper, just such a real deep love, and so I don't know. That's.
Yeah, I think. That's another thing that came into my mind too. In that same moment, I was like, oh my gosh, who has room for romance in that world that they're living in?
There's no time.
Yeah, yeah. So I think there is that
It's
kind
just-
of. I do feel like they sort of look at each other like, well,
Yeah.
if things were different, who knows?
If we didn't
but
have to
they're not.
save the universe, we
Yeah.
might,
Yeah.
But we do. You know what's great though too is I've loved sort of the relationship between Asami and Korra because
too.
it didn't revert to like that weird like let's hate each other thing. Like
Yeah.
they're girlfriends.
which makes it a little more awkward for Mako.
Yeah, that moment when Grandma is like, oh, she mistakes Asami for Korra.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's so beautiful. And then she
Hilarious.
goes, you're very muscular for a girl.
Hilarious.
But that moment where
love
then
that
she's
moment.
like, why don't you date girls like this? And everyone's like,
just-
oh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great look. It's a great
Yeah.
look. Yeah.
But I think that's the other piece of it, right? Is that there's no time either for stupidity and
Yeah.
that kind of that
Just
sort of
petty.
jealousy and pettiness, because they do both respect and like each other so much, and the fact that they both had a relationship with Mako shouldn't. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't for me. That's tough. You know, that's
Yeah.
very tough.
They
but
have
it's complicated. But that they are able to climb above that and just
like
connect
she
is
said, they
great.
have such a higher purpose that like there's no time for petty. They're more, I think, more evolved and kind of they enjoy the friendship. It's a bit awkward, but their purpose is much higher than getting involved in the petty.
Let's just quickly look ahead. Last question, looking ahead at book 4. Where do you think that we're going to find? Mako's been doing a lot of sort of detective work on his own. Do you think that will continue? Do you think he'll kind of go off and sort of try to solve things in Republic City and manage the situation there? Do you think that Korra's maybe going to have to take a retreat from being the Avatar to find out what that even means to her?
I mean, I really couldn't say.
You know, we can only guess because we've recorded, as you know,
Yeah.
a while ago, and so we don't really know what's to come.
Also, we have to take a special amnesia pill after we finish
That is
recording
true.
each season.
And yeah,
What if that was?
I actually have taken.
It's an eternal sunshine of the spotless mind kind of situation where we go in and a machine erases our memories, so we can't spill the
Alright.
beans on anything.
Well,
But
no,
I would like to see Mako get back together with Korra.
I think there are people that would agree.
I would love to see that.
I think there are people in the
There
world
are plenty of people
and the
also who would
internet.
disagree.
That's true. There are.
This.
I mean,
This.
no, I'm just saying. Listen,
Slapped
I hear about
down.
him all the time. Every time I do a con, everyone's
I'm
like,
sure
"Who do
you
you
do."
ship?"
Who
And,
do you ship?
I don't have an answer to that because I don't feel like I love all of the characters so much. There was a while where I just kept saying like, Janet Varney like funny guys, and so I felt so bad for Bolin in book 1 because he's so funny and charming. But you know, I don't.
When he was
every-
hitting on you and stuff, you mean? Yeah, yeah.
Every shipping situation that has been presented to me, I've been like, listen, if that was what makes sense to you guys, I totally am cool about it. You know, the funniest one was Tano because he's such a peripheral character and was like so opposite of Korra. But yeah, I mean,
The Korra and Asami ship was kind of interesting.
that's a big one.
That's a new one, and that was a very big one. I have a
And how
friend
do you
that
say
ships
it?
That.
Korrasami.
Korrasami.
Yeah.
Korrasami.
Well, all right, there you have it. Thank you guys so much. We're looking forward so much to book 4. Loved book 3, and we're looking forward to the game in
The
between
game is
to tide
the
us
game
over.
Yeah,
is
the
going to be
game's
exciting.
incredible.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks a lot.
Rob. Great
Nice
seeing
to
you.
see you.